They laughed at humanity. Then our dreadnought arrived. The stars barely flickered out here. Space was quiet to quiet. On the edge of Dominion space, near an old mining outpost long thought abandoned, something shifted in the dark. A ripple, a distortion, then silence again. Inside Dominion Command Station Thatnine, alarms began to chirp. Not loud, but steady enough to break the usual boredom of deep space patrol. Lieutenant Sarix, a young officer with too much caffeine in his system and not enough sleep, stared at his screen. "Sir," he called, blinking at the odd readings. "I've got something." Commander Jarn, older and slower to believe in surprises, walked over with a sigh. "Don't tell me it's another asteroid." "No, sir. It's I don't know. Something just dropped out of slipspace. No ID tags. Number. Comes it's big. Bigger than anything in our logs." Jarn frowned. "How big?" Sarix hesitated. "About the size of a colony ship. Maybe larger." "Then why didn't we see it approach?" "Because, sir, it didn't approach. It just appeared." Now that got Jarn's full attention. He leaned in close, eyes narrowing. The sensor data didn't lie. 1 second the area was empty. The next, there it was, sitting dead still. No engine burn, no beacon. Just there. "Get me a visual." The screen switched to a grainy camera feed, and there it was. A ship, but not like any ship the Dominion had seen before. Its hull was thick and ugly, boxy, armored, covered in overlapping layers like a beetle's shell. There were no visible weapons, but the entire thing looked like a weapon. "Who in the stars builds something like that?" Jarn muttered. "Humans," Sarix offered, half-dash joking. Ya Aaron barked a laugh. "Humans? The Mudworlders? Come on, they're barely off their planet." "I know," Sarix said, "but look." Yes. He zoomed in on the side of the ship. The letters were faint, scratched into one of the armored plates. ESV, OBCR, Verth Ship Vessel. Human design. Dominion records said they didn't have ships bigger than cargo haulers. Nothing like this. A low hum filled the room. Sirax flinched. Jarn stepped back. The ship was transmitting. A simple tone at first, then a word. One word. Observed. That was it. No message. No demand. No identity. Just that one word. It sent a chill through the room. Commander Jarn straightened. "Send a ping. Standard hail. Let's get some answers." Sarix typed fast. The command station's com array lit up. Seconds passed, then minutes. No reply. The ship didn't move. It didn't blink. Didn't even drift. It just sat in space. Like it had always been there. Then more alerts. Other stations across the sector started reporting sensor disturbances. The same kind of ship, same shape, same silence appearing near patrol zones, relay stations, old outposts. 6 of them. All human marked. All silent. The Dominion fleet scrambled. Within the hour, 3 cruisers arrived at Thatnine, flanking the mystery ship from a safe distance. Commander Jarn watched from the bridge of the Talon's edge, tense. "Give me a firing solution," Captain Brell ordered. "Let's test its armor." But before anyone could act, the observer moved. No. Engine flare. No warning. One moment it was still. The next it had repositioned 400 kilometers to the side. Instantly, as if space itself had bent, the Talon's edge screamed with alarms. "Spatial distortion detected," shouted the nav officer. "What kind of propulsion was that?" asked Captain Brell. No one had an answer. The humans had always been behind. That was what everyone believed. Primitive, isolated, obsessed with small wars and internal politics. But this wasn't backwards. This was beyond. Suddenly the observer transmitted again, this time a full sentence. "We know you're watching." "So are we." And just like that it vanished, not warped, not accelerated. Vanished. All across Dominion space, the reports kept coming. Silent, immovable human ships. No attacks. No scans. No threats. Just presence, watching, waiting, Commander. Jarn stared at the screen for a long time. Then he turned to Sarex, voice low. Send a report to High Command. Make sure they read it. What should I say, sir? Jarn hesitated, then said, Tell them Earth was never behind. They were hiding. The war hadn't started, but something. Had Asterisk, the Dominion thought it was in control. Across the sector, fleets were deployed. Science teams scrambled to understand what just happened. The strange ships, human-marked, heavy-looking things kept appearing near key systems. Mining worlds, trade lanes, even near military listening posts. They didn't fire. They didn't. Jam comes. They didn't even speak again. They just sat there, quiet, heavy. Admiral Ceres of the Dominion's Fourth Fleet didn't like mysteries. She'd spent 30 years hunting pirates, crushing rebel worlds, and keeping the border safe. This wasn't a war. It didn't feel like one. But it didn't feel like peace either. She stood in the command center of the Blade of Unity, staring at the giant tactical screen showing one of the human ships near the planet Corian. It hadn't moved in hours. Still no response? She asked. Admiral Hercom's officer replied, We've tried every frequency, every language. No reply. Not even a ping back yet. They're mocking us, said Captain Revik, her second in command. This is psychological warfare. They want us nervous. She said, It's working. She turned to the science officer. What do we know about their ships? The officer swallowed. Very little. We've sent drones, but they get blocked by some kind of distortion field before they get close. Our scanners can't get past it either. Weapons? Nothing. Visible, but power signatures are high. Higher than our dreadnoughts, Admiral, and the holes are ... odd. How? Overbuilt, layered, like they were preparing for total failure. Like each part of the ship can keep running, even if everything else is destroyed. Ceres frowned. That's inefficient. Yes, Admiral, but it makes them very hard too. Killer eyes narrowed. Are we sure these ships are human? The room was silent for a moment. Captain Revik finally spoke. They match Earth's old signal protocols. Language patterns are consistent. The markings are human, but tech, this precision, this silence. It's not the Earth we know. Then maybe we don't know Earth, Ceres muttered. They'd always assumed humans were primitive. They have good at fighting among themselves, sure, but their tech was old, their reach small. They'd barely colonized a few nearby systems. Last report said they were still using fusion engines with chemical boosters. None of that explained what they were seeing now. No. Dominion ship could move the way that vessel had. No known engine could reappear in a different position without even leaving a trail. And now, more human ships were appearing. Not in fleets, but alone. Always alone. Never closer than necessary. Each arrival was the same. Silent, slow, then still. As if they were waiting for something, or watching. Every time one appeared, trade routes rerouted. Civilian ships changed course. Stations went quiet. The fear wasn't loud. Not yet, but it was growing. On Corian Station, civilian relay hub, near the latest human ship, traffic had dropped by 90% in one day. In a bar on level 6, 2 engineers watched the human ship through. Thick glass window. It just floated out there. No lights, no movement, just ... presence. You think it's alive? One asked. I think it's more dangerous than anything we've ever seen, the other whispered. At Dominion High Command, a private meeting was called. Admiral Ceres appeared via hololink. So did 10 other fleet commanders. Above them, the emissary of the throne sat in silence. Any progress on communication? Asked the emissary. None, Admiral Ceres replied. But something strange has started. What is it? We've started losing probes. Lost how? Gone. No signal, no wreckage, just ... gone. That could be a glitch. Ceres shook her head. It's not, and it's not just ours. Trade vessels report blackouts too. Always near the human ships. Always temporary. But enough to cause panic. They're testing us, another admiral said. Or warning us, Ceres said softly. The emissary leaned forward. They fired no weapons, made no demands. What do they want? That was the question burning through the Dominion. And then, finally, an answer came. On every Dominion come relay, every fleet channel, every open broadcast, the message appeared. A calm human voice, clear and even. We are not here to conquer. We're not here to fight. We are here because the galaxy watches us now and we must watch back. There was a pause. And then, you never saw us coming. You thought we were behind. You were wrong. That was all. Then silence again. But now no one laughed at Earth. They stared into the dark and wondered just how long humanity had been preparing and what they were preparing for. The Dominion sent more ships. They couldn't help it. Fear spreads fast in space and pride even faster. When something unknown enters your territory and says nothing, shows power but makes no demands, it becomes a challenge. And the Dominion had never backed down from a challenge. But Earth wasn't acting like an enemy. That was what made it worse. A week after the broadcast, 9 human ships had been spotted. They never came close to inhabited planets. They never scanned stations or blocked traffic. They just picked a place in space, powered up, and waited. Admiral Ceres had ordered full recon of the ship near Corian. Probes were useless. Drones vanished. Even stealth fighters couldn't get a clear read. So she made a decision. She sent a team. Commander Narek, a decorated Special Forces officer, led the mission. His dropship left the Blade of Unity under full escort and approached the human vessel carefully. No weapons active. No shields raised, just curiosity and caution. The ship didn't move. It didn't warn them, it just floated. It was the dropship. Neared, its lights flickered, and every instrument on board went dark. Total power failure. Backup systems, Narek barked. Nothing, then ... Light. Not from the Dominion ship, but from inside the human vessel. A slow pulse. White-blue, almost like a heartbeat, flashing through cracks in the hull. Then the dropship's power came back. Everything worked again, but no one had touched anything. Did they give it back? One soldier whispered. Docked manually. The hatch sealed behind them with a soft hiss. It wasn't locked, and it wasn't defended. Inside, the human ship was silent and cold. No gravity, no crew. But it was running. Everything was active, barely humming, but alive. Lights glowed under metal panels. Consoles blinked with unknown languages. There were chairs, terminals, even food lockers. It felt like a military ship, but one built for something more than war. It felt like a message. Commander Narek reached the main chamber. At its center, a large screen flickered to life. A single line of text appeared. You wanted answers? Then the room shifted. Walls glowed with light and stars appeared around them like a planetarium. Earth was at the center, then the solar system. Then expanding outward, dozens of lines connecting moons, outposts, dead satellites, human fingerprints everywhere. They'd been watching the stars for centuries. Then the images changed. Dominion ships, stations, tech, everything ... labeled. Human intelligence files, names, classifications, weapon specs, years of data, too much to gather by accident. What? They've been watching us, Narek said slowly. For a long time, and then another message appeared. We hid because we had to. You expanded because you could. Now we're ready. Back on the Blade of Unity, Admiral Ceres paced. They let us in, she said aloud. They wanted us to see. What's the purpose? Asked her science officer. To make us think, to make us pause. And if we attack? Ceres stared at the image of the ship on the screen. Then they'll stop watching and start responding. A report came in. New human. Ships had appeared. 2 more, one near a gas mining station, one near a Dominion military scrapyard. Always near something useful. Never in the same place. All different sizes, all different energy profiles. They're not just warships, Ceres said. They're testing stations, listening posts, Ghost Scouts. Hey, what do we do? Asked Revik. Ceres didn't answer. She was staring at a new message coming in, this one from Dominion Command. It was an order. All human ships were now considered potential threats. Every fleet was to prepare for possible engagement. A full strike plan was to be drawn up and ready within the week. She closed the file. She didn't feel pride or relief, just dread. Because for the first time in her long career, she wasn't sure what would happen next. The humans hadn't threatened war, but they hadn't promised peace either. And the worst part? They didn't need to. They'd already shown the Dominion everything. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't beg for peace. They didn't demand territory. They just arrived. And in silence, they told the galaxy, "We're here. We're ready. And we are not afraid." The Dominion made its move. It started with a single cruiser the Emberlight sent to intercept one of the human ships near the Delcar mining belt. No warnings, no diplomacy, just orders. Approach, scan, and, if necessary, engage. Admiral Ceres didn't approve. She said so in every briefing, but the High Command wanted answers, and they were tired of waiting. Human silence is a threat, they said. Act before it's too late. So the Emberlight jumped in, locked weapons, and moved straight toward the human vessel. It was named ESV Sentinel. Same strange hull design, same overbuilt body, same silence. No shields up. No sign of crew. Captain Yolan of the Emberlight stood on her bridge, tense. "Scan their engines," she ordered. "Let's see what's behind the curtain." The scan started. That's when things went wrong. Instantly, the Emberlight's lights flickered. Half the bridge screens went black. Weapons systems shut down. Main engines dropped to standby. Every alert blared at once. What just happened? Yolan demanded. No one knew. Then a voice came through. Calm, human. "We do not allow invasive scans. This is your only warning." What? The crew froze. No one had transmitted. They hadn't even opened comms. The voice had forced its way into their systems, bypassing every security layer. Captain Yolan gave the order. "Power weapons. Fire a warning shot." But nothing happened. Their weapons were still offline. Suddenly, the Sentinel moved. Not fast, but deliberate. It shifted sideways, slow and silent, like it was staring back. Then it vanished. No jump signature, no trail. Just ... gone. Back on the Blade of Unity. Admiral Ceres received the report with a tight jaw. "They disabled our cruiser without firing a shot," she said to Revik. "And they warned us," Revik added. "They gave us a chance to back off." Ceres nodded. "And we didn't take it." Now the whispers began. Pilots and officers across the fleet were nervous. Messages spread in quiet corners of ships and stations. What do the humans want? They attacking? How are they doing all this? Some said Earth had struck a deal with an unknown advanced race. Others believed the humans had found ancient alien tech and reverse-engineered it. But those were just guesses. What the humans hadn't done was declare war. They hadn't fired a single shot. But they'd already changed everything. Admiral Ceres requested a direct link to Dominion Command. The emissary finally agreed to a private meeting when her image appeared in the council chamber. The emissary leaned forward. "You've seen the reports? Do you still think they're not a threat?"
"Acting like a threat,"
Ceres said. "But they could be." "Yes," she admitted. "But that's not the point. They could have crippled our fleets already. They've shown us only a fraction of what they can do." "That's restraint, not aggression." The emissary frowned. "We're not used to being watched like this, especially not by humans." "They've been patient," she said. "Careful. They've shown us their ships, their tech, and their limits, but only when we push first. And if we push harder, they'll respond harder." The emissary stayed silent for a moment. Then he leaned back. "We have another report," he said. "One of the human ships just entered orbit around Kravos Station." Ceres froze. "That's a population center." "Yes, a big one. 1 million Dominion citizens. And the ship's just sitting there. Not scanning, not talking, just watching." "Yes." Siri stared at the floor for a moment, then said softly, "Then I hope we don't make another mistake." At Kravos Station, the people gathered at windows. The human ship hovered above them like a shadow. No lights, no sound, no movement. But everyone felt it. Children asked their parents if the humans were going to attack. No one had an answer. On the 14th floor of the station's main hospital, an old engineer named Relin looked up at the ship through a cracked window and whispered, "They're testing us. Seeing who we are, not what we say."
Aye.
And high above, the sentinel floated like a sentinel should, unblinking, unmoving, unafraid. The message was clear. Even without words, we are not invaders. We are not weak. We are simply no longer hiding. For 3 days, the human ship hovered above Kravos Station. It didn't speak, it didn't move. But its presence changed everything. Shuttle traffic dropped to almost nothing. Civilian ships rerouted to avoid the planet. Children were kept indoors. The local militia stayed on high alert, weapons hot. Eyes always locked on the massive, blocky shape in the sky. People expected something to happen, but nothing did. Not a scan. Not a sound. Just that ship, sitting above them like it belonged there, inside Dominion Command. Admiral Ceres watched the footage live. She sat in silence, arms crossed. Eyes locked on the ship's shadow as it passed slowly over the stations. "Dome. It's like they're waiting for us to blink," said Revik, sitting beside her. "No," Ceres replied. "They're waiting for us to ask the right question." "What question is that?" She stared at the screen. "Why didn't they do this sooner?" He blinked. "What do you mean? We called them primitive for years. Said they were behind. But these ships, this technology, it didn't come from nowhere. You think they were hiding?" She nodded slowly. "Not because they were weak. Because they were learning." That same moment, a quiet chime echoed. "Through the command center," Admiral Decomb's officer said. "Coming transmission. It's from the human vessel." "Put it through," Ceres said. The screen changed. A human man appeared, middle-aged, calm, wearing a plain black uniform with no rank, no medals, just one patch on the chest. "ESV Sentinel. This is Captain Elias Grant of the Earth Space Vessel Sentinel," he said. "To the Dominion, we offer greetings. We apologize for our silence, but it was necessary." Ceres leaned forward. "We've watched your systems, your ships, your way of doing things," Grant continued. "You conquer quickly, expand faster. But you listen little, so we stayed quiet. We waited. Now, we're done waiting." He paused. "We are here, and we will not move." Ceres stood. "This is Admiral Ceres of the Dominion. You are in restricted space. Your presence near civilian stations is a violation of interstellar codes." Grant smiled faintly. "Codes written by empires that never expected us to rise." Ceres narrowed her eyes. "Are you threatening the people of Kravos?" "No," he said simply. "We are protecting them." "From who?" "From your reaction." His words hung in the air. Ceres said nothing. Neither did anyone else on the bridge. Then he continued. "We came not to fight, not to conquer. We came to make sure no one else tries to conquer us. Not again." Ceres blinked. Again. Grant leaned slightly toward the screen. "You think Earth was alone? You think we just stumbled through our own problems and looked up one day? But we've been through this before. It's just not with you." He paused. "We've met others, long before your scouts found us." Everyone on the bridge froze. "No one believed us," Grant said. "Not even our own leaders at first. But the signs were there. Hidden probes. Disappearing research teams. Alien materials found on asteroids we never visited." He looked directly at the camera, so we prepared. We built in silence. We built in secret. We made mistakes. We lost people, but we kept building. He leaned back, and now we're here. Ceres stepped closer to the screen. "What do you want from us?" Shh. Grant didn't hesitate. "Recognition, respect, equality, and distance." "Distance. Don't touch our systems. Don't send warships into our space. Don't treat us like a child learning to walk. Ceres exhaled slowly. And if we don't agree, Grant's voice didn't change, then we'll show you. What happens when someone plans for 1,000 years and is finally forced to act? The screen went black. Everyone stood in silence. Ceres looked around the room. No ships are to engage the Sentinel, not unless fired upon. But Admiral, someone began. Stand down, she said firmly. This isn't a standoff. It's a warning. She turned and walked away from the screen, and above Kravos Station. The human ship still floated, quiet, steady, like a monument carved from the stars. Everyone below kept waiting for it to attack. But that wasn't its purpose. It wasn't a weapon. It was a message. We are no longer afraid of you. Asterisk in the Dominion's capital. Tension wrapped the halls like smoke. The High Council gathered behind sealed doors, voices low, faces tight. Outside the chamber, guards stood alert, as if expecting the walls themselves to crack open and reveal another human ship. Inside, the emissary of the throne looked tired. His long robes hung loose on his shoulders. His fingers drummed lightly on the table. We need to respond, said General Malik. They're parking warships over our cities. This is invasion without a single shot. Admiral Ceres stood. At the far end of the room, she had just returned from Kravos Station. Her tone was calm but firm. If they wanted war, we'd already be ashes. You're suggesting we do nothing? Snapped Counselor Venn. That we let Earth drop these monsters across our skies and simply watch? I'm saying we think before we act, she replied. Their silence isn't weakness. It's control. The emissary raised his hand. The room quieted. Admiral Ceres. What do you believe their goal is? To keep us out, that's all. No territory, no conquest. Just a wall between them and us. And what if we cross that wall? She met his gaze. Then they'll push back. Harder than anything we've ever faced. The room fell silent again. No one liked the answer, but no one had a better one. An alert pinged through the council chamber. A priority broadcast from Sector 12. Another human ship had arrived, but this time it was different. Bigger, more powerful. It appeared just beyond a Dominion weapons testing zone near a black dwarf star. The ship's energy signature was the highest yet, strong enough to trigger sensor alarms across nearby systems. They called it Goliath. Built like a floating fortress, Goliath didn't just hover, it dominated space around it. Its gravity signature distorted nearby debris. Light bent strangely near its hull, and still it didn't fire, didn't speak, just watched. By the second hour, Dominion recon cruisers had surrounded it. They kept a wide distance. No one dared get too close. From her ship, Admiral Ceres opened a private channel. To her surprise, Goliath answered immediately. A man appeared. On the screen, tall, older than the others, dressed in simple, armor-like clothing. No rank again, just the same patch. Earth. This is Admiral Ceres of the Dominion. Identify yourself. He nodded slightly. Captain Saul Rennick, commanding officer of the Goliath. Why are you here? To deliver a message. What message? He leaned closer. His voice didn't rise. It didn't shake. Earth isn't behind anymore. She waited. That was it? That was the message, he continued. You've seen our ships. You've seen our silence. But you haven't seen our will. Ceres folded her arms. What does Earth want? Be left alone. You expect the Dominion to simply ignore a growing power at its doorstep. You ignored us before. It worked out better for everyone. Quiet beat past. Captain Rennick added, we are not here to scare you. We're here to remind you. Empires fall when they stop listening. Ceres didn't flinch. You're playing with fire, Captain. No, he said calmly. We are the fire. Then, for the first time, Goliath moved. Not fast, but steady. It repositioned itself just beyond the Dominion patrol ring, like a giant taking one careful step backward. No weapons drawn, no threat, just presence, deliberate and clear. The call ended. Admiral Ceres watched the ship drift into a new position, holding steady in space. She gave one order. Tell command. No engagement. Observation only. only if attacked. One of her aides hesitated. Ma'am, they're outmatching us. What if they build more? They will, Ceres said. That's what scares me. Far across Dominion space, people began talking in quiet voices. About Earth, about the silent ships, about how the humans hadn't fired a single shot, but somehow felt more dangerous than any enemy before. And above every major Dominion sector, those ships remained, still, calm, unshaken, as if they knew the galaxy was watching. And they were waiting for it to blink first. The galaxy held its breath. Every major Dominion world had one now an Earth ship, not attacking, not leaving, just watching. People looked up at the skies and saw them, massive, silent, unshakable. Some feared them. And still, not a single shot had been fired. Dominion High Command met in secret. For once, there was no yelling, no threats, just long, heavy silence as the leaders stared at a live feed of Goliath, still parked at the edge of Sector 12. They've made their point, said Admiral Ceres. They've made many points, said the emissary, his voice low. They showed us power without war, control without force, patience without fear. General Malik shifted in his chair. This is psychological warfare. Strategy, said Ceres. Brilliant. Quiet and clean. They didn't just build ships. They built confidence. And now we hesitate. That's all they needed. What are you suggesting? Asked Counselor Venn. Ceres stood. Her hands were calm, but her voice was stronger than ever. Negotiate, talk. Not because we're weak, but because they're not either. They've proven they're not to be bullied, not to be ignored, and most of all, not to be underestimated. Outside, the message came. This time, from all the human ships at once. Each screen, across Dominion, space military, civilian, even, private networks blinked on. Same face appeared on every channel. Captain Elias Grant. He spoke clearly. No threats, no shouting. People of the Dominion, we are the humans of Earth. You've seen our ships. You've seen our silence. You felt our warning. He paused. We do not seek war. We do not want your territory, your people, or your resources. We want only one thing: respect and peace. He looked directly into the camera. Your leaders have been given the choice. Let them make it. But know this. Earth will not kneel. Not today. Not ever again. The screens went dark. The Dominion's main city, people gathered in streets watching the skies. No one ran. No one screamed. The fear was fading, replaced by something stranger: curiosity. On the Blade of Unity, Admiral Ceres gave her final order. Send a message to Earth. Diplomatic channel. She waited. Slowly, the screen lit up. Captain Grant appeared again. Ceres gave a small nod. We're ready to talk. Grant smiled. Just a little, so are we. The meeting took place 3 days later. A neutral station was chosen, far from any populated world. One human ship, one Dominion cruiser. No weapons, no tricks, just two sides sitting down at last. Admiral Ceres and Captain Grant met face to face in a quiet chamber. No guards, no armor, just words. Could have attacked us months ago, Ceres said. Grant nodded. We never wanted to. You knew you'd scare us. Not, but yes. She looked at him for a long time. Why now? Why reveal yourselves after all these years? Grant's answer was simple. Because we're ready now, ready to stand equal, to show the galaxy that a quiet voice doesn't mean weakness. It means discipline. They talked for hours, then days, and soon something changed. The human ships began to leave their positions. One by one, they pulled back. Not running, not hiding, but drifting into deep space, away from cities and stations. People watched them go, and some even waved. A treaty was signed, not of surrender, not of dominance, but of balance. Earth was officially recognized as a sovereign power. The Dominion agreed to stay out of human space. In return, Earth offered shared technology, peaceful cooperation, and open skies. No more hiding, no more watching from the shadows. They had stepped into the light. Back on Earth, the skies were calm again. The Sentinel returned to orbit, quiet and strong. Captain Grant stood on the bridge, staring down at the blue planet. Below, a young officer approached him. "Was it worth it, sir? All the waiting?" Grant smiled. "We didn't wait," he said. "We prepared, and now they know." He turned to the stars, eyes steady. "Now the galaxy watches us." And with that, Earth's future among the stars began, not with fear, but with respect.